I know you. You used to be confident. You used to be happy. You used to be open and fun-loving and sure of yourself. But now you feel weak. You feel uncertain. You are so full of so many doubts. And on top of everything, maybe the worst part is that somewhere deep inside, there's a part of you that's afraid. Maybe she's right. Maybe my ex is right. Maybe somehow I'm the bad guy. And of course, that seed of doubt is there. I mean, not only is this person that you cared so deeply about telling you that over and over and over again, but you're hearing it from everyone else too. You're hearing it from the judge. You might be hearing it from the lawyers. You're definitely hearing it from her friends. And perhaps most devastating of all, you might be hearing it from a therapist, either yours or perhaps a couples therapist that you guys saw together. This divorce is breaking you down. You see it happening and you don't want it to happen, but you don't know how to stop it. How do you get back to that confident self, that happy self, that sense of knowing who you are and being secure and stable in that? Where did it go and how do you get it back? I'm Rachael Sloan. I help men survive divorce, rebuild who they are so they can move on with confidence. And in this video, I want to talk about why divorce breaks you down and things that you can do to not let that happen, to stop that process and reverse it. We have a really serious problem on our hands, and it's the way that divorce views men. Right? There is so much attention given out there to women and to minority groups, but it turns out that when it comes to divorce, men are really the marginalized group. Men do not have the same access to resources and support systems as women. There is this incredibly wrong myth out there that men tend to come through divorce better than women. The truth is that most divorces are initiated by the woman, and that all along the way, most of the support, most of the energy is given to helping her while viewing the man as the villain, as the bad guy, as the guy whose fault the whole thing is, right? She is more likely to get access to the kids. She is more likely to get the money, get the house, get the car. She is also more likely to be recommended a good therapist or support group or coach to help her through. She's more likely to get sympathy from everyone, from your mutual friends to your lawyers, to the judge, again, to your therapist. There is this assumption throughout the entire divorce process that the man is just naturally at fault. There's this whole narrative about how you're the villain and she is the victim. And the entire divorce process focuses on this on every level. And the end result is that a lot of men like you, a lot of really good people, good men, are left behind. They are left broken down when you get this messaging from all sides that you're the problem, you're the problem, you're the problem, you're bad, bad, bad. It is really difficult not to internalize some of that and start to have these doubts come up within you. If everyone thinks this is true of me, maybe they're right. Maybe there's something wrong with me. Maybe there's something broken in me. Maybe there's just something inherently bad about me. And this messaging is really compounded in our society right now with all this talk of the patriarchy and the man as, especially the white man, as this kind of epitome of the bad guy. So it should really come as no surprise that I talk to men like you every day who used to be confident, who used to be happy, and who now just don't know. I've even heard language so strong as not just I think I might be bad, but am I a narcissist? Am I a monster? I had one fellow even say, sometimes I'm afraid maybe I'm evil. That is the power of this messaging that is getting pounded into the heads of men going through divorce. And this is a time when what they need is support. Right? We act like men aren't going through the same grief and sadness and loneliness and fear and overwhelm. Oh my gosh. Of course, men are having this tumultuous and intense emotional experience. And if anything, it's harder for men to handle than it is for women, because men have been taught most of their lives that it's really important to ignore emotion, and that emotions are signs of weakness, and that emotions make you a sissy or a wimp, or that you're not attractive if you show emotions. And yes, that narrative is starting to change slowly in our society. But if you watch movies, if you read books, if you even look at the news, you still see men being cast in this role as the stoic one, the strong one, the protector, the provider. And now going through this divorce, all of these really intense emotions are coming up. You've never been taught how to deal with emotions. You've been taught how to shove them down, how to ignore them, how to fight them, and how to be strong and move on anyway. So this is a time when you need support, right? You need someone on your side. You need help getting through this process. You don't need to be told over and over and over that you're the villain and you're the only one at fault in this situation. In just a moment, I'm going to get to some things that you can do to not let this divorce break you down in this way. First, though, I want to just be really clear about how important this is, not just for you, but for us as a society, for us as a culture. We need our men. We need our men to be emotionally intelligent and emotionally resilient. We need our men to be self-aware and confident and strong in the sense that they know who they are and they have a stable, trusting relationship with self. Because those are the kind of men who make good fathers. Those are the kind of men who can teach their children how to process their own emotions, how to go through the struggles in life and come out healthier and happier on the other side. These are the men who can have intimate, deep connections with their partners. These are the men who can be compassionate leaders and team players. We don't want to leave men behind. We don't want to say, oh, they're just the bad guys. We don't want to dehumanize them. We need our men in our lives and in our society, in our culture, which means that it's time that we stop dehumanizing you with these labels of narcissist and control freak and asshole. In some ways, even the word man has become a bit of a dirty word, and that has got to change. And one place where it can start to change is in you, by not letting yourself be broken down by these old, outdated, and foolish biases that permeate throughout the divorce system. One thing I want you to be really aware of is that a relationship is two people, and the end of a relationship also takes two people. Yes, I am sure you played a role in the end of your relationship, and I am equally positive that she did. And I know for a fact that you are not the cause of her anxiety. You are not the cause of her depression. You are not the reason she's a people pleaser. You are not the reason she's a perfectionist. That is hers. That is her stuff to deal with. That is the result of her own societal conditioning and a lifetime of thoughts and experiences and beliefs. That's hers. You have yours. And I'm sure you're starting to be aware of what some of your stuff is. It takes two. It takes both of you. So no matter what you hear, and no matter how many people tell you this was all your fault, it wasn't. And I know you can't just flip a switch and believe that. Once this seed of self-doubt starts, how do you stop it? How do you stop that self-doubt from taking over? How do you get your confidence back? The way that you overcome that self-doubt and that you get your confidence back is to meet yourself. Like actually really truly get to know yourself. And the reason that you haven't done this yet is because it's going to involve looking at all of those dark and painful places that you don't want to go into. It's going to involve looking into that part of you that's like, oh God, maybe you're a bad guy, and finding out and looking at that part and understanding that fear. It's going to mean going through some intense and painful emotions. You can't truly get to know yourself and see the person that's in there if you are keeping your grief at an arm's length, if you are squashing your anxiety, if you are holding back your anger, if you are avoiding your fear. You have got to go into these emotions and experience them and move through them. And then once you come out the other side, you have to start questioning your beliefs about yourself. You have to go into your own brain and your own heart and find out what is truly in there. And that is a terrifying idea when you're afraid that maybe there's a monster in there, or maybe there's just something ugly or bad or broken. Because I know how awful this idea seems, I want to just give you a little piece of hope here. Something that I have learned by doing this work on myself, and something that I learn anew every single time I work with a new client. You're not bad. When you go in there and you dig into all of that, you are not going to find a monster. I know that because I know that behind every feeling and behind every action, even the worst ones, even the worst thing you ever said to your wife, even the worst thing you ever did, there is a positive intention. Usually that intention is to feel safe or to feel loved, because those are two of our primal survival needs, right? We need to be physically safe and we need to be emotionally safe. And emotional safety comes in connection with other people because that's how we evolved. We evolved without a lot of physical resources, right? No fur, no claws, no fangs. I talk about this a lot. We're not very fast. We're not very agile, but we're smart and we have other people. That's what has kept us alive. That's what's kept our ancestors alive. It's what's let us evolve to the point where we're sending rocket ships into space and going to Mars. It is our brains and other people, which means that at the core of almost everything is a desire to feel safe and a desire to feel loved, because those two things have been necessary for our survival for pretty much the entirety of human history. Even the worst behaviors, even the worst things that we do, they come from those very human, very natural, very normal places. What I hope you're hearing in this video from me is that this is not all your fault and that you are not a bad person. You are going to hear that messaging over and over and over again as you go through this divorce. In it and beyond it, you're going to hear it from your ex, you're going to hear it from the judge, you're going to see it in the eyes of all kinds of people. And I want you to hold this knowledge within you that you are not a bad person and you are not broken. And everything you have said or done is perfectly rational. It makes perfect sense if we can go into your head and into your heart and understand the underlying needs and the underlying fears that are there. Keep an eye out for my next video. It's going to be coming out in just a couple of days. I'm going to give you a couple of concrete tools to start tapping in to that inner goodness, tapping into that sense so that you can start to feel it. Because that's what you have to do. You can think this all the time, but until you feel, until you know yourself and feel that connection, you're not going to be able to get that confidence back. If you're feeling broken down by your divorce and you want to get back to that confident, happy, self-assured person that you were, schedule a call with me today. I can show you how to get there and I can help you get through those intense emotions, get to really know yourself so that you can meet that person in there that is going to be naturally confident, who's going to know who he is. And then I will help you make a plan, make a roadmap for going forward and carrying that identity into future relationships and navigating the challenges that will come up with success. Thank you for being here with me. Keep your head up. Don't let divorce break you down.